What's up, guys? We are live here on Facebook, Mixer, uh, Kayfabe Controversy, YouTube, Twitch. We're everywhere. And we are rocking it with your favorite booking video game of all time. It's Total Extreme Wrestling 2013, and we are trying to make Impact Wrestling the best promotion of all time. And also, in today's episode, we're talking Slammiversary 2007. So just to get you up to speed, we are 2 days away from our next pay-per-view, Impact Against All Odds. We have 5 championship matches on the card. We have our tag team championship match between the Lucha Brothers and the Briscoes for the tag team championships. Our X Division championship on the line, Adam Cole versus Marty Scurll. We also have Kairi Sane versus Gail Kim for the women's championship, and we will feature TJP versus Bobby Fish for the Impact Grand Championship. And finally, we have the Impact World Championship vacated by an injured Alex Shelley between Kofi Kingston and Johnny Impact. So the bummer of this is that Alex Shelley was the Impact Grand Champion, cashed in his opportunity, vacated the Grand Championship for a shot against Kofi Kingston for the Impact Championship, beat Kofi to win the title, and got hurt, and he's on the shelf for a year with an injured knee. Now, he can still perform, but it's causing such a serious damper on his match rating that it made more sense for him to vacate the title, and we will keep him off of TV, off of pay-per-views, and basically just on the shelf for the next 12 months. I didn't want to do it, and honestly, I'm just going to put him on vacation, but, I didn't want to have to do it, but it was impacting his match rating, and that's what we need. We need those strong match ratings to get ourselves to national status. That's step number 1. As you can see right now, we just have the cult following. We need to get to national status so we can go after some of these bigger names that we've been trying to go after. And then number 2, we can use that popularity to leapfrog WWE to become the number 1 ranked promotion in the world. And as you can see, we're up to week 3, 2020, and a lot of things have happened, including we are working towards a contract with Jon Moxley, whose contract with AEW has expired. We've also stolen the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega from AEW. They've jumped ship and come to Impact. We're working on improving our TV situation. Currently, we're on Pop TV, and we've kind of reached the pinnacle ratings-wise with Pop TV. So we're looking for a bigger network, and that bigger network, we've been turned down by ESPN, and I believe we've been turned down by one other big network in the last episode. So now we're on to Sci-Fi, which Impact has been on before, and hopefully we can get back on. We're also trying to land a pay-per-view contract with Time Warner Cable, as we were turned down by Dish Network, DirecTV, Comcast, Cox, and I think one other pay-per-view provider. So also on this card, we have one non-title match thus far, which will probably be subject to change with Matt Jackson joining the roster officially after the last TV, and that is Eli Drake, Jay Lethal, and Jay White versus Ricochet, Nick Jackson, and Flip Gordon. Most likely, we will pull Nick out of that match, replace him with someone else, and we'll have the Young Bucks in a tag team match against someone. Not sure who yet. Kenny Omega, not yet on the roster. Will be soon. We're going to go ahead and advance. We're going to start talking about Slammiversary 2007. This is Slammiversary 3, for those of you keeping score at home, in 2007, and marked the 5th anniversary of TNA. Also, about 10 days after TNA Sacrifice, Jeff Jarrett's wife Jill passed away from breast cancer, and so this match, or this pay-per-view, was met with heavy hearts because it was it was about 2 weeks after Sacrifice when Jill died, and then another 2 weeks later, and Slammiversary has come around. Jeff Jarrett not on the card for this pay-per-view, and you'll see that they really tried to backfill it and weren't really all that successful in getting some of those matches backfilled with any sort of flair, I guess you could say. However, you had a pretty strong main event, and the newly formed TNA World Tag Team Championships, the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and then of course the TNA X Division Championship. This is the first pay-per-view without the NWA championships being either the official title of the promotion or being the unofficial title, but also being the belt of record, I guess. The actual physical belts were still in possession, in TNA's possession at that point. So, kicking things off, 10-match card was about an 8.5-minute match with LAX in a tag team match against a very odd combination of Rhino and Senshi. Low-key had the Senshi gimmick going on there. Hector Guerrero at ringside for Rhino and Senshi, and then of course Conan at ringside for LAX. Rhino and Senshi would get over on LAX, which was a very strange thing. Next matchup was the first championship to be defended at Slammiversary, and that was the TNA X Division Championship. 9-minute match. The champion Chris Sabin would fall to Jay Lethal. It would be Jay's first run as TNA X Division Champion. Next matchup, very interesting one indeed. It featured former NFL player Frank Wycheck tagging with Jerry Lynn of the X Division and Kyle Vandenbosch at ringside, former Tennessee Titan, former Detroit Lion. He played around a little bit. This pay-per-view took place in Nashville, Tennessee, so they really leaned heavily on that Tennessee, the ties with the Tennessee Titans of the NFL. In that tag team match, they would go up against James Storm and Ron Killings, and Jackie Moore, at ringside for them. Now, the weird thing about this match is that Frank Wycheck and Jerry Lynn would get over on James Storm and Ron Killings. Very strange indeed. Another strange match would come up next, a singles match, non-title, quick match too, just shy of 4 minutes. Bob Backlund, yeah, that Bob Backlund would defeat Alex Shelley. Weird stuff. Alright, so we have some emails waiting. Tyson Dukes looks like he's going to re-sign an AIW. No other news really to speak of, so we'll go ahead and check up on those emails. Sci-Fi has turned us down, so we'll go back to the TV networks with no Sci-Fi. We are looking for coverage in the USA, and we want it to be minimum size of big because we're already on a medium-sized network in Pop TV, so we want to go bigger than that. So Sci-Fi's turned us down, Spike has turned us down, that was the other one, and ESPN has turned us down, which leaves us with TBS, the CW, TNT has a show, USA obviously has their shows, MTV and MTV2, and HBO. So we are going to, we're going to try TBS and see if we can get on TBS and get Impact a little bit bigger of a an audience. Ayako Hamada set to start work tomorrow. She will be one of those other talents that we try to get mixed up with Kairi Sane to try and take her out. She hasn't lost in months. I think she's on, what is she on, defense number 12 of her title? Oh, yeah. She's defended the title 11 times. Um, she won it September of 2019, so it's been, let's see, October, November, December, January. So this is now 5 months she's gone undefeated. She hasn't lost on TV. She hasn't lost on pay-per-views. She's just been dominant. And so I've been scouring the women's division trying to find her a suitable opponent. So hopefully we can find those. Getting back to Slammiversary 2007, tag team match would be next. Christy Hemme at ringside for the Basham brothers, although they weren't really the Basham brothers here. They were Basham and Damaja. Doug and Danny Basham, if you will. Taking on Voodoo Kid Mafia, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and very quick match, less than 3 minutes for this one, for Voodoo Kid Mafia to get over on Basham and Damaja. Next up is singles match, the continuing feud between Eric Young and Bobby Roode. Young would get over on Roode with Miss Brooks at ringside for Roode in a 10-minute match, and it would lead into the next championship match on the card, and that was the TNA World Tag Team Championships between the former and now stripped of their NWA titles Team 3D, Bully Ray and Devon, taking on the returning Rick Steiner, who was making his pay-per-view re-debut with TNA. If you recall, he was on one of the very first weekly pay-per-views for TNA, and his partner, Road Warrior Animal, making his TNA debut. So, Team 3D would pick up the win, become the first World Tag Team Championships in TNA over Rick Steiner and Road Warrior Animal. Nice piece of trivia there. The first ever TNA World Tag Team Champions, who were the losers in that match, Rick Steiner and Road Warrior Animal. Alright, back to game here. We have some unread emails, and CZW looks like they might be in some trouble business-wise, and they are not yet in bad enough position, but they've got some talent that I kind of would take a look at. Shane Strickland, Tim Donst, Jonathan Gresham is a pretty solid talent. Let's see, who else is in here? David Starr is pretty decent. Ethan Case is alright. And then you've got some road agent type folks like Jim Cornette, James Mitchell. Maven Bentley is here. Arn Anderson, Jessica Havoc. So they've got some pieces there that would be interesting to kind of work with. Bishop's leaving NCW, no idea who that is. Vince Russo has taken control of OVW, so we'll be seeing them on the chopping block here pretty soon as they quickly go out of business. Being the Elite, looks like they had a pretty good show. Bandito wins the Ring of Honor World title over Kenny King, and Super Crazy is finally healthy. Joseph Connors doesn't want to be in development anymore. Time Warner says no to our pay-per-view request, and Ayako Hamada has joined the roster. Just in time for Against All Odds tonight. And we'll go ahead and run the push here. Also, we will do our medical. And everybody's clean, so we're golden there. Oh yeah, Rich Swann is out too. Well, Rich Swann is out 11 more days with a simple frontal bone fracture. That's his eye there. Injured his eye. He'll be out about 11 days with that. Alright. So it looks like we're clear here. Still trying to expand our pay-per-view network. And in the United States, we are currently on YouTube. Yay. And I think we're on one other one. Yeah, we're on Shaw Direct. Yippee. So a lot of places have turned us down, which kind of sucks. Not gonna lie. I don't know who TVN is. Never heard of him. But we could jump on Sinclair, get those buys up a little bit. Almost knocked over my drink. That would have been awesome. Alright, so we'll reach out to Sinclair and see if we can get something going with them. Alright, Against All Odds is tonight. And we've got a very busy card to get to. We are at the Stan Sheriff Center in Hawaii for Impact Against All Odds. So here we go. So let's book our championship matches first. We'll get those out of the way here. And we'll start with Kairi Hojo and Gail Kim. So those two will go head to head. Amy Dumas will road agent for this one. Whoops, forgot to put the title on the line. There we go. Alright, our tag team championship between the Briscoes and the Lucha Bros. The Impact World Tag Team Championships. Next up, Impact Grand Championship, the final of our tournament. TJP, who was the 1 seed in this tournament, if you recall, from previous episodes, TJP beat Ricochet and Jake Hager, who had beaten Jay White in the first round, to get to the finals, and he will be taking on the one and only Bobby Fish. Now, Bobby defeated Jay Lethal and Will Ospreay, who beat Flip Gordon, to get to the finals and set up a very interesting matchup between these two for this Impact Grand Championship. Now keep in mind, the winner of this match, not only do they become the Impact Grand Champion, but the way that we sort of have our world set up, the Impact Grand Champion can cash in their championship and vacate the title in exchange for a championship opportunity. So that is a very unique stipulation to that Grand Championship. And it's the same with our X Division title. Marty Scurll has held on to that title and has defended it well since becoming the X Division champion, but he can cash that in and vacate that title at any time to become, to have an opportunity at the Impact World Championship. He has not done that yet. He's actually defended it in quite a few pay-per-views. And he's done a masterful job of it, too. And finally, last but not least, our main event will feature Kofi Kingston versus Johnny Impact for the world title. Now, we had a world title tournament, if you recall, when Alex Shelley vacated the title at the last pay-per-view, I believe, or it might have been TV. We did a sort of a mini 4-person tournament featuring the last 4 title holders of the Impact World Championship that are still with the company. So Kofi Kingston in EC3 and Sami Callihan and Johnny Impact. Kofi beat EC3, Sami lost to Johnny Impact, and there you have the Impact World Championship match here at Against All Odds. Alright, so we have all of our championship matches booked. 95 minutes of our pay-per-view is in hand. And now we will go ahead and start backfilling the rest of our pay-per-view, and we're going to start that by filling in the rest of our. We're going to wrap up our tag team matches here. We're going to have OVE take on the Young Bucks, and this will be open, of course. They'll work the crowd with the decisive victory. Don't care who wins. I don't really care who wins any of these matches. I just enjoy booking them out. Alright, so we've got our first tag team squared away here. Let's get our second. The Gorilla Brothers, or the Gorillas of Destiny, and the Coffee Brothers. And these guys are probably going to pre-show just for the simple fact that neither of them are high enough on the card to really draw any kind of attention. So we'll go ahead and put that in the pre-show. Alright, so we've got all of our tag teams booked. Let's book out the women's division, which we've trimmed the fat on significantly over the last couple of months, trying to get rid of some of that talent that just really hasn't done much of anything, and really wasn't putting together the quality matches that we needed to have the division function well and continue to give us good ratings on TV and at the pay-per-views. So we've really been cutting loose a lot of the women's division, and we're going to actually feature 3 women in this match who have yet to be featured on a pay-per-view. Sayuri and Sakushi we picked up when we purchased Shine or Shimmer or Ice Ribbon. One of the women's promotions that we purchased when they were getting ready to go out of business. We acquired their contracts and brought them in. They haven't been used yet, and Ayako Hamada just came on board. So I want to see what she can do, as well as these other 2, and what kind of match they can put on. So we'll put them up near the front. And how many women do we have left here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We have 14 women left, so I can do a 10-woman battle royal, and we'll go ahead and do that. Who are the 4 I want to leave out, though? I want to leave out Kira Hogan, Shayna Baszler, Tessa. I definitely want to leave out Tessa Blanchard. So do I want to leave out Rosemary or Sue Young? Let's go Rosemary. There we go. And I think we'll pre-show these ladies too, just in the interest of time. Amy Dumont gonna have a lot of work to do in this pay-per-view. Okay, and we'll wrap up the women's division with a fatal 4-way between these 4 women. We'll see what kind of show they can put on here. Okay, so we've got our tag teams all booked out, we've got our women's division all booked out, and now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 talent left. And I've got Eli Drake, Jay Lethal, Jay White, Ricochet, Flip Gordon, and one other person that could now slide into that role that Nick Jackson had he's now bailed out of. So on the one side we had Eli Drake, we had Jay Lethal, and we had Jay White. And on this side we have Ricochet, Flip Gordon, and why not Will Ospreay? Let's do Will Ospreay. He kind of makes the most sense with those other two guys. That seems like it'll work for us. Amy's had her hands full here. Let's give this one to Matt Bloom. He hasn't really done a ton in this one, I don't think. And apparently my dog is very upset about something. Alright, 5 guys left here. Jake Hager, and I don't think he's messed with Shawn Spears at all one-on-one. He has not. So we'll go ahead and get this one signed, sealed, and delivered. I bet this would be a very interesting match in real life. I would think. I mean, Jake is very technical. Shawn is pretty good. So it makes a little bit of sense to me to try to find a way to make that work. Alright, and so now all that we're left with is a triple threat match. Because we've only got 3 talents left: Dalton Castle, EC3, and Sami Callihan. And I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I have a feeling it's probably not going to be all that great. But I've been wrong before. Believe it or not, I have. So there we go. There is our Against All Odds card. Let's go ahead and kick this show off here. And while we do that, we have, before we get to that, we did not talk about the 3 final matches of Slammiversary 2007. So the first of the 3 on the main event, singles match. Christopher Daniels taking on Sting, 6.5-minute match. Sting defeated Christopher Daniels. Next up was no DQ, 13.5 minutes for Abyss, defeating Tyson Tomko. And then you had the King of the Mountain match for the vacant TNA World Heavyweight Championship. So this is the King of the Mountain match you have to qualify for. So it starts with 5 competitors. You qualify with a pinfall submission win. Once you get those, you are qualified for the King of the Mountain. If you don't get those, then you're out. Normally during a King of the Mountain match, they typically have found a way to get all 5 into the final portion of the match. Once you qualify, it becomes a ladder match, and you have to scale the ladder with the title and hang it from the thing. So you don't retrieve it from where it's hanging. You actually have to hang it up there. Weird way to finish it, but that's how it's done. So your 5 competitors to qualify: Chris Harris, Christian Cage, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Kurt Angle. So the first one to qualify was Chris Harris, who pinned AJ Styles. Kurt Angle would go next. Christian Cage would then qualify, and then time would run out before AJ Styles and Samoa Joe could qualify. So they were out. So now it became a triple threat match. The first person to hang the title at the top of the ladder would become the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. It came down to Kurt Angle, Christian Cage, and Chris Harris. The winner of that match, Kurt Angle. He became the very first TNA World Heavyweight Champion. There you go. So some pretty cool stuff there. And and a pretty decent pay-per-view all in all. The next pay-per-view on the calendar would come in July, back in the Impact Zone in Orlando at Victory Road 2007. And you would see the return of TJP as Puma. You would see Homicide jump on board an Ultimate X match. Elix Skipper would be back. Shark Boy would be back. You had Voodoo Queen, Roxy Laveau. Nicole Rashinsky would make her TNA pay-per-view debut. The first appearance on TNA pay-per-view of the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. So pretty cool stuff. And then you would have one of the most interesting main events of all time, where all three men's championships would be on the line. Very interesting stuff, and we'll talk about that in the next episode, because we've got a pay-per-view to get to. Let's do this. Coffee Brothers and the Gorillas of Destiny put on a little bit of a better show than I expected in the pre-show. Okay, I guess, in our Battle Royal with the women. Sue Young would pick up the victory there. B-plus match out of Briscoes and the Lucha Bros. The Lucha Brothers, defense number 4 of their tag team championships, and a great match to kick off the main portion of our pay-per-view. Sean Spears and Jake Hager. Jake Hager would pick up the win by submission. Our women's fatal 4-way match, Shayna Baszler would pick up the victory over Kiera Hogan, Rosemary, and Tessa Blanchard. C-plus rated match, kind of figured. We get a B out of Dalton Castle, EC3, and Sami Callihan. This one is one I was worried about. Sami Callihan would get the win. B- out of our fill-in tag team partner for Ricochet and Flip Gordon. Eli Drake, Jay Lethal, and Jay White would pick up the win in a B- rated match. B-plus match, OVE versus the Bucks. So pretty cool there. Great match. Young Bucks pick up the victory in that one. A D-, ouch, for our triple threat women's match here. And none of those women appeared to do very well. That one's going to hurt. C-plus out of Kairi Hojo and Gail Kim. Kairi yet again defends that title. TJP is your new Impact Grand Champion after defeating Bobby Fish to win the Impact Grand Championship tournament. Marty Scurll and Adam Cole is a double countout. So Marty Scurll retains the X Division Championship via countout. Last but not least, Kofi Kingston becomes a 2-time Impact Champion by defeating Johnny Impact in a B-plus match. 22 minutes, 37 seconds. All in all, a B-plus for our final rating. And great work all around by everybody. Increased our popularity in 40 regions, and we are going to praise the Bucks and Kofi Kingston for winning the best matches of the night. Where's Kofi? There he is. Told that they're awesome. Make that speech. Alright, there we go. So now let's check our pay-per-view buy rates and we'll wrap up this episode. Episode number 38. Wow. 38 episodes. Go us. Stay tuned here in a little bit. It is week 1 of season 4 in iRacing. We may do a little bit of that here coming up in just a bit. I don't know which series I want to race in yet. I want to, at some point, consistently race an entire series for a points championship. We'll see how that goes. Unread emails waiting. We kind of knew that was coming. AEW re-sign Ryan Ward. I have no idea who that is. Who the hell is he? He doesn't have a role. He's just kind of there. Okay. Whatever you say. Joe Coffey has changed his wrestling style. Saraya Knight, Paige's mom, is retiring. Wolfgang looks like he's going to stay in ICW. CMLL has a new champion. And an excellent show from the Stan Sheriff Center for Against All Odds. Gail Kim, a little beat up. 2.45 buy rating. That is, I believe, by far our best buy rating. I need to check that. Genesis was a 1.92. Against All Odds was a 2.45. Oh yeah, definitely our best buy ever. This was, by a long shot, far and away the best pay-per-view buy rate we've ever gotten. I'm very excited to see how this goes. We are now up to 2 regions in America with C+ importance, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more that are at a C rating. If we can get all of those to a C+, we are national size, and we'll be in good shape for continuing to compete with WWE. Also, Tyler Black will start in 1 week, so he won't be available for this upcoming TV, but the following TV, so episode number 40, Tyler Black will make his debut on Impact Wrestling. So stay tuned for that. Lots of good stuff coming up. Kenny Omega will be joining the roster soon. Tyler Black will be joining the roster soon. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Very, very stoked for what's ahead for Impact Wrestling. So stay tuned. My name is the Mayor Jason Smith. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Be excellent to each other.